Alright fellas, today, we're tackling a challenge that only could come from my autistic mind. Can you beat Elden Ring by only summoning yourself?
Huh?
We're calling this the Who's Who challenge, a nod to the Call of Duty Zombies perk. Just like that perk gives you a second chance, a second you to fight alongside, this challenge is all about using a spectral version of yourself to conquer the lands between. So, what exactly does that entail? Imagine this. 2 consoles, 2 copies of Elden Ring, and 2 identical characters. We're talking same appearance, same starting class, everything. Both of these characters are named Who. So, literally, who is who? Because they're the exact same person. One, Who, will be the host, the main character navigating the world. The other Who will be the summon. And here's the main rule. The host cannot attack. No swings, no spells, no damage whatsoever. The host is just there, a conduit for the real action, the summon. Think of it like this. The host is the stand user, and the summon is stand. The host is vulnerable, while the summon does all the heavy lifting. But it's not just about combat. The core idea here is like the hermetic principle of as above, so below. Whatever happens in the host's world, the above, has to be mirrored in the summon's world, the below. And anything the summon does first has to be set up or reflected in the host's reality. It's a constant link between 2 parallel existences. Now for the summon, there are no restrictions on weapons, spells, or build. However, for those familiar with Elden Ring's online mechanics, you know that summoning comes with its own set of drawbacks. When you bring a phantom into your world, especially for a boss fight, the boss's health pool increases significantly. Your summoned self will also deal reduced damage, making every encounter a test of endurance and precision. The main goal is to defeat bosses, but this challenge applies to any enemy on the map. Even those little dung beetles carrying special items, the summon has to kill them in host's world first. Only then can the summon pick up the item in their own world. Also, if the host dies, you lose. If the summon dies, you also lose. So you're not just fighting the enemy, you're also protecting your host, which is yourself. The host and summon can have different stats and equipment, which leads to my master plan. Eventually, I'll use a hair tie to hold down the R1 button on the host's controller, keeping a big shield up. This way the host is protected, acting as a decoy tank while I control the summon to defeat the boss safely. Even locking onto the boss with R3 to draw aggro. One practical issue for this challenge was the setup. I had to borrow my brother's console, and the worst part was the logistics. Entering a boss arena with the host, then sprinting across the house to the other console to enter with the summon. Not ideal, but that's how it went down. This isn't just a regular challenge run as it might seem. It's an experiment in self-reliance, a bizarre journey through the lands between, where the biggest challenge isn't the bosses, but mastering the art of fighting yourself, with yourself. Stay tuned as we embark on this truly bizarre adventure.
Our initial foray into this grand adventure began with a rather meticulous exploration. No attacking, mind you, not yet. The host, bless their cotton socks, simply meandered through the early areas, absorbing the atmosphere, collecting the occasional flask upgrade. Vital for any long journey, you understand. Their world, while aesthetically pleasing, offered little in the way of immediate combat advantage. A quiet contemplative stroll, if you will. But the summon's world, that's where the real treasure hunt began.
Change!
As a rather unburdened Tarnished, starting as a deprived, the immediate priority was finding some proper attire, something more substantial than rags. And then, the true prize, the meteorite staff. A magnificent piece of craftsmanship, this. No need for tedious reinforcement. It simply works, delivering a rather satisfying punch with gravity spells right from the get-go. A perfect companion for our early endeavors. And looking ahead, there's another rather intriguing piece of kit, the Staff of Loss. This one's a bit special. It amplifies the power of invisible spells, which, trust me, are incredibly useful in the right hands. And the beauty of our dual-world conundrum? We can acquire 2 of these. Imagine the possibilities, doubling the damage boost for our invisible arsenal. Quite the tactical advantage. Would you agree? So with our initial reconnaissance complete, our flasks bolstered, and our magical arsenal beginning to take shape, the stage was set. The journey, as they say, had truly begun.
Clair-obscur, trouble de rature, courera et fait. Clair-obscur, voir des hauts peintures, trouvera sans elle. Clair-obscur, trouble de rature, trouvera et fait. Clair-obscur, voir des hauts peintures, trouvera sans elle. Clair-obscur, trouble de rature, courbera et fait. Clair-obscur, par les hauts peintures, trouvera sans elle.
Indeed, Margaret proved to be a rather stubborn obstacle, a formidable challenge, even for a seasoned adventurer like myself. But, as I always say, when one door closes, another, often more interesting, portal opens. The limitations of being a phantom, the increased boss health, the diminished damage, the rather paltry flask count, made a direct confrontation with Margaret a less than comfortable affair. And why make things unnecessarily difficult when one has the glorious flexibility of approach at one's disposal? So, a strategic detour was in order. Our sights turned to Commander O'Neill, a rather imposing figure, but one who held a most valuable prize, the rallying stem. A truly splendid item, this. It provides a buff to oneself and one's allies. And in our unique predicament, who better to buff than our very own Phantom, our loyal companion in this grand endeavor? Now Neil, being an open field boss, presented a rather delightful tactical advantage. No restrictive fog walls, no confined arenas. This meant we could summon our Phantom anywhere, engage the commander, and if things went pear-shaped, which let's be honest, they occasionally do, we could simply return to the site of grace and try again. The tactic was rather ingenious, if I do say so myself. Keep the host safely ensconced at the site of grace, and repeatedly summoned the Phantom until O'Neill was decisively defeated, securing that most coveted rallying standard. A rather efficient use of our resources. This revelation about open field bosses, my dear friends, was a game changer. It opened up a whole new realm of possibilities. If O'Neill could be tackled with such persistence, then surely other open field adversaries could be exploited in a similar fashion, yielding not only valuable runes but also crucial items. The lands between, it seemed, were far more accommodating to our peculiar methods than initially presumed. Our next target, a rather grotesque but equally rewarding specimen, the ulcerated tree spirit. This particular beast held the key to the cerulean hidden tear, an item of immense power for our mana-hungry Phantom. But, as per our stringent rules, the host had to acquire it first. So the strategy was refined. The host, with a rather impressive display of stealth, would crouch and hide in a safe, secluded spot, while the Phantom was repeatedly summoned to face the monstrosity. It was a brutal affair, I must confess. The tree spirit, with its furious attacks, often delivered a swift, one-hit demise to our Phantom. And there were moments, rather heart-stopping moments, when it came perilously close to discovering our hidden host. But through sheer determination and a healthy dose of strategic retreats, the beast was vanquished in the host's world, yielding the cerulean hidden tear, an item of little use to the host, but absolutely vital for the Phantom's future endeavors. And once that was secured, the process was repeated in the Phantom's own world, allowing our true combatant to claim their own cerulean hidden tear. This marvelous concoction, you see, renders spells mana-free for a short period. Imagine the possibilities. A torrent of unhindered magical power, perfect for delivering massive damage when it truly counts. Following the successful endeavor, we applied the same meticulous approach to the Erdtree avatar, securing the magic shrouding cracked tier. Again, first in the host's world, with the host cleverly hidden, of course, and then in the Phantom's world, with these two tiers, the cerulean hidden tier and the magic shrouding cracked tier, combined within the wondrous physic, and coupled with the potential for 2 Staffs of Loss, enhancing our Night Comet spells, victory against Margit and the other early game bosses was no longer a mere possibility. It was, dare I say, an absolute certainty. The pieces of our grand strategy were finally falling into place.
Two, one, go!
The show is starting right now. You keep forgetting now.
Jump, up and down and all around. Everybody feels up, get down.
Feel the beat out in the street. You're not alone.
Let's call mayhem, dance to the number, sliding, stepping, tripping in the bumper. Dance so hard the day in the slumber. Magical step feast the piper. You the rest from where this guy come from. Doing it up in the streets and they call him fat. So many and it's he that danced the most. 3, 2, 1, go!
This night, let me show you the way. Feel alright, get your legs on the stage. On the Champs-Elysees, find your smile in the mood. But take time, we'll find it once more. This night's dancing like cabaret. Feel alright till the break of the day. For the long job done, summer wine way too soon. Moonlight groove, we'll dance it one more time.
Dance all around, everybody make a shout, get down! I can't catch up until the dawn continues, close to work time. Give it to me, 4:30 time. I got a plane here, let's go. The gig is up, go. You can't go.
3, 2, 1, go!
Having overcome Margit and left Godric in the past, a subtle, yet undeniable realization emerged. The damage output, unshackled from cooperative constraints, was significantly greater. This imbalance unveiled a curious facet of Elden Ring systems, the quiet penalties woven into its matchmaking mechanics. Our use of password-based co-op, while allowing seamless connection regardless of level or weapon disparities, introduced an invisible cost, a reduction in both stats and damage. The greater the level gap, the more pronounced the debuff became, as the game sought equilibrium, often at the expense of effectiveness. This insight crystallized during a particularly stubborn duel with the Red Wolf of Radagon, a creature remarkably resistant to our sorcery. With Renala looming, a being of even greater magical resilience, it became clear a shift in strategy was needed. We required a physical weapon and reinforcement of our arsenal. Despite early access to powerful items through careful exploration, the unique constraints of the hues who challenge ensured each confrontation remained demanding, yet fair. Thus, we sought to narrow the gap between host and summon, enhancing the host's weapon to mirror the summons, and maintaining parity in rune levels. A methodical, almost clinical approach to progression, befitting the intricacies of this peculiar journey. In an effort to defeat Renala without abandoning our current build, I proposed acquiring the Moon Veil by felling the Madma Wyrm. A solid plan. Until logistics intervened. Guarding the boss Fog was an aggressive NPC who left no time to summon safely. So, like recalling a Pokemon, I summoned my companion early, dispatched the threat, then re-summoned him at the gate. Unfortunately, my greatest fear proved true. Despite its partial physical damage, the Moon Veil's magical nature rendered it less than ideal. Still, the battle remained steady, until Renala's scholars blindsided the host while I was distracted, and just like that, we fell. Not to a goddess, but to her fan club. A tactical retreat was in order, a temporary redirection of our efforts. Our gaze, ever keen for new opportunities, turned towards the enigmatic Rani. This path, however, first demanded the defeat of Loretta, a sorceress of considerable power, though thankfully not quite as magically resilient as our lunar adversary. Loretta proved to be a stark reminder of the Phantom's inherent challenges. The battle was a nail-biter, ending with our Phantom clinging to life by a thread, mana depleted, flasks empty, a stark contrast to the effortless victory achieved in our own world. It underscored the delicate balance required in this challenge. Every victory earned, every resource meticulously managed. With Loretta dispatched, Rana's quest unfolded, leading us to Saluvis, and a most valuable acquisition, the Magic Scorpion Charm. A truly essential trinket this, for it significantly amplified our magical damage. To further bolster our strength, we sought out a falling star beast, not for glory, but for the precious somber smithing stones it guarded. These were vital for upgrading our weapons, ensuring both the host's and the summon's armaments remained perfectly synchronized in power. A harmonious escalation of force, if you will. Our journey also led us to D, securing the twinned armor, a rather fitting ensemble for our dualistic endeavor. And from the Twin's Edge glintstone crown, paving the way for our most potent spell, Comet Azure, we acquired the Terra Magica spell, further enhancing our magical output. Finally, a detour through Celia Town of Sorcery yielded the formidable Lusat staff. All these preparations, my dear friends, had a singular purpose. The Godskin Noble, this rather portly adversary, guarded a somber smithing stone 7, a crucial component for elevating our weapon to its ultimate potential. Our strategy was, shall we say, rather unconventional. A sleep pot, precisely aimed, rendered the noble temporarily inert. While he slumbered, the host, with remarkable dexterity, deployed the rallying standard, buffing our damage. Then the summon unleashed a devastating combination, Terra Magica, followed by a concentrated blast of Comet Azure, amplified by the wondrous physics. It was a near-perfect execution, almost felling the beast in a single glorious volley. Alas, he awoke, narrowly missing our host.
Stay with me, bratuka!
But his fate was sealed. The stone was ours. With the Somberstone 7 secured, and having already acquired the 8 and 9, only the 10 remained. This, of course, led us to the rather unpleasant task of Barre's questline. During the invasion phase, unable to engage without our phantom, I found myself simply wandering. A rather peculiar sight, I imagine. My objective was not combat, but completion. So, a quick leap into a convenient chasm, and the quest was done. The Somberstone 10 was ours, allowing us to fully upgrade the rallying standard. Not for its offensive capabilities, mind you, but to ensure that its upgrade level perfectly mirrored the summon's weapon, maximizing the damage scaling for our spectral counterpart. A rather elegant solution to a rather peculiar problem. Wouldn't you agree? Our journey demanded access to Leyndell, and for that, another shard-bearer had to fall. Radahn. His defeat would not only open the gates to the capital, but also grant us passage to the underground, crucial for Rana's quest.
Here they come! Here they come, my brothers! Fight, my brothers!
Our first attempt against the Star Scourge was, shall we say, a rather chaotic affair. Radahn, from afar, immediately targeted the host with a barrage of arrows. The summon, despite its best efforts, simply couldn't close the distance before the host was overwhelmed. It became a frantic dance of watching the host's health, desperately prompting them to use a flask, all while trying to draw Radahn's attention. If only Torrent, our trusty steed, could join us in core. The thought was fleeting, but it sparked an idea. A brilliant tactical maneuver born from our earlier planning. The solution lay in a simple yet ingenious device. A small elastic band.
Usopp! Rubber band!
Securing the host's controller in such a way that their grand shield remained perpetually raised. This allowed the host to bravely endure Radahn's initial volley, providing the summon ample time to close the gap and draw the Star Scourge's aggro. Not only did this protect our pacifist counterpart, but by luring Radahn towards the shielded host, we created a perfect distraction. The host, steadfast and unyielding, kept Radahn occupied, allowing the summon to unleash a devastating comet Azur. It was a near-perfect strike, almost felling the giant in one glorious burst. And with a swift follow-up, a precise night comet as he landed, Radahn was no more. A truly magnificent display of coordinated chaos. With Radahn's demise, our path to Leyndell was clear, and Rana's quest could continue. Our next target, Rennala. This time we came prepared. We acquired a pair of Scavenger's curved swords. Normally, one might only find a single such blade per playthrough, but the unique nature of our challenge allowed us to procure a second, effectively gifting it to ourselves. These blades, with their innate bleed capabilities, would prove invaluable against the magically resistant Queen. Next, the Mimic Tear. A rather amusing encounter as it copied our unarmed host, rendering it utterly harmless. A quick, almost polite dispatch. Following Rana's questline further, we confronted a hostile shadow, another obstacle, swiftly overcome. Finally, our journey led us to the ethereal depths of Estelle, natural born of the void. This cosmic horror proved to be a formidable adversary, shrugging off our magical assaults with frustrating ease. Our mana reserves dwindled, forcing us to resort to the more physical approach of our Scavenger's curved swords. A tough fight, but victory was, as always, ours.
So it was thee who had become my lord.
With these major hurdles cleared, our focus briefly shifted to the acquisition of runes. Rykard and Mobwin, two colossal beings, provided a bountiful harvest, bolstering our strength for the trials ahead. And at last, our journey culminated in Lanedell, the royal capital, after a decisive battle with the draconic tree sentinel. Upon entering Lanedell, we made a crucial upgrade to our host's support capabilities. The rallying standard, while effective, was replaced by the Golden Vow. Essentially the same concept, but with a superior duration, ensuring our phantom remained consistently buffed. This strategy, the host providing the Golden Vow buff, while the summon unleashed its own array of enhancements and attacks, with the host bravely tanking and distracting the boss, proved devastatingly effective. Godfrey and Morgott, two of the capital's most formidable guardians, fell before our coordinated assault. And to cap off our preparations, a final strategic encounter, not for his great rune, but for the ultimate prize, the best shield in the game for our host. A truly impenetrable defense, ensuring our pacifist companion could withstand even the most brutal of attacks. The pieces were now perfectly in place for the final act of our grand adventure. Now, in any grand expedition, there are always paths untraveled, and in our unique Who's Who challenge, certain limitations, alas, became rather apparent. To access the pristine beauty of the consecrated snowfields, one requires a piece of the Hallowed Tree Medallion, and that particular piece, my dear friends, is only obtainable by engaging a disguised NPC. The catch? It's the host who must initiate the confrontation. The summon, for all its power, simply cannot trigger the necessary interaction. This means that formidable adversaries like Astel, with its promise of powerful meteor spells, and the truly formidable Melania, Blade of Miquella, will remain unconquered in this particular endeavor. A shame perhaps, but a necessary compromise in the pursuit of our grand objective. With those paths temporarily closed, our gaze turned to the next major hurdle, the fire giant, a colossal adversary indeed. One might imagine that the host's magnificent shield, our steadfast protector, would struggle against such immense blows, its stamina quickly depleted. Fortunately, the arena is vast, offering ample space for the host to remain cleverly concealed during the first phase of the battle. However, a rather dramatic transition occurs in the second phase. After a brief cinematic interlude, the host, quite unexpectedly, finds themselves directly in front of the enraged giant, utterly vulnerable, while the phantom remains at its previous position. It becomes a frantic race against time, an imperative to regain the giant's attention, to draw its aggro back to the summon, before our unsuspecting host meets a rather fiery end. A moment of pure, unadulterated tension demanding swift action and precise coordination. Our journey through the lands between continued, leading us to the formidable Godskin duo. For this particular encounter, we brought forth a new acquisition, the Dark Moon Greatsword, obtained through the intricacies of Rana's quest. This blade, with its unique properties, offered a welcome flexibility to our combat approach, adding a new dimension to our build. The battle was, shall we say, a rather close affair, a hard-fought victory that left us quite exhilarated. Alas, not all treasures were within our grasp. Our ambition to further optimize the Dark Moon Greatsword build was met with the harsh realities of our challenge. Two crucial talismans, the Godfrey Icon and the Shard of Alexander, remained elusive. The Godfrey Icon, guarded by an Evergale boss, proved inaccessible, as summoning is simply not permitted in such confined spaces. And Alexander, in the culmination of his quest, also presented an insurmountable barrier. Summoning is again restricted, and even as an invader, he remains invisible, rendering any attempt at a peaceful acquisition impossible. A minor setback, perhaps, but one that highlights the unique constraints of our endeavor. However, while the Phantom's build faced certain limitations, the host's capabilities could still be enhanced. The Old Lord Talisman, the most valuable find, promised to extend the duration of our crucial buffs, ensuring our phantom remained empowered for longer periods. Before reaching the arena of the fearsome Malekith, a draconic tree sentinel stood as a rather imposing gatekeeper. Engaging such a foe without the ability to calmly summon our phantom was simply out of the question. So, a preemptive strike was necessary. We summoned our phantom beforehand, dispatched the sentinel, and then, with the path clear, resummoned our loyal companion at the very entrance to Malekith's domain. The battle against Malekith began rather smoothly. The host, with their unwavering shield, expertly drew the beast's attention, allowing the summon to unleash its full might. However, the second phase introduced a new challenge. Malekith's penchant for leaping onto pillars occasionally caused our hosts lock on to disengage, leaving them vulnerable, their shield facing the wrong direction. It required constant vigilance, a rapid reacquisition of the target. But after a few determined attempts, Malekith, the Black Blade, finally fell. With Lendil now a city of ash, all that remains is to fulfill our destiny. For our dear Lady Rani and for those who come after.